morning, Grenada, Carriacou, PT, Martinique, the rest of the Eastern Caribbean and the rest of the world. A spicy Grenadian 473 morning to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in to Good Morning Grenada. Those of you on the GBN, Grenada Broadcasting Network's Facebook page, the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel, the website www.gbn.gd, GBN TV channel 7, 11, and 20. Good morning to the listeners of Classic 105.5, 105.9, and all the folks joining us on Party Grenada and Go To Fet Facebook pages. A spicy Grenadian morning to each and every one of you joining us across the Caribbean, whichever part of the region you are. Far north as Jamaica, far south as Guyana, far southwest as the ABC Islands, far northeast of Grenada as Barbados, all the islands in between. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody had a restful, peaceful Monday. It's still the early part of the work week for most of us. I know we're still feeling the effects. Yes, I know Blossom tired this morning. Blossom wake up real late this morning. Blossom almost didn't get here on time, but by the grace of God, I got here on time and able to do my job. Thank you, Jesus. Good morning, everybody. To all our viewers and listeners across the rest of the world, whichever part of the world you are, good morning, good afternoon, good night. Hope you will have a good day, are having a good day, have had a good day. Bless up your whole selves. It is another terrific Tuesday, and I'm grateful to be in the land of the living. So should you be. And let's start. It's time for this morning's word of the day. This morning's word of the day is nudnik. Nudnik. It's spelled Nudnik. Nudnik. It is a noun which means a persistently dull, boring pest. Nudnik. Everyone, unfortunately, has had experience with a persistently dull, boring pest, aka a nudnik. It is plainly a Yiddishism, a derivative of the Yiddish verb which means to bore or to pester. It may come from the Polish word which also means to weary or bore, or the Russian word which means to wear out. The Yiddish suffix nik, adopted into English as a noun suffix that refers to persons, usually derogatorily, involved in a political cause or group, is also of Slavic origin. The personal suffix nik appears in English as early as 1905, but the launch of the Soviet satellite Sputnik, literally traveling companion, polarized nik ad museum. Nudnik entered English in the first half of the 20th century. That's the word of the day this morning, nudnik. It's spelled Nudnik. It's a noun which means a persistently dull, boring pest. I can think of a few people that fall in that nudnik pot, innit? I know y'all thinking of them too, innit? A persistently dull, boring pest. Yeah, we can think of them. Including actual animals. Yeah, don't try to trick me. Don't try to put me in confusion. Pests come to mind as well. Mosquito, fly, sandfly, sour fly. Yeah, all of them come to mind. A few people as well, but that's beside the point. Word of the day this morning. Try to use it. All right, let's see what the thought of today is as you go about your terrific Tuesday. The thought of today is be patient in the storm and focus on the sunshine after. Be patient in the storm and focus on the sunshine after. Some of us are going through some things. It's tough. We had to go through. It's hard to cope. Some of us saying, woe is me. Why me? Why have to go through them things? But don't focus on it too much. Just think of the good things that will come after. You have to toil. You have to climb some mountains, go down in some valleys, hop over some fences, duck under some barriers to get to the goal. So be patient in the storm and focus on the sunshine after. That should help you get through it a little bit easier. Just focus on the good things that you will accomplish at the end of the storm, at the end of the dark tunnel, and that should help you a little bit, or as much as possible. Be patient in the storm and focus on the sunshine after. That's the thought of today. Let's see what's celebrated today, May 18th, 2021. Today it is HIV Vaccine Awareness Day. HIV Vaccine Awareness Day. It is annually recognized, and it recognizes thousands of volunteers, community members, health professionals, and scientists who work together to find a safe and effective HIV vaccine. The day also promotes continued awareness and education concerning HIV vaccine research. Over 30 years have passed since HIV was identified as the cause of AIDS. However, researchers continue in their mission to develop a vaccine. While treatments and preventative measures exist to help those impacted by the disease, a viable vaccine is still the only means to prevent its spread. It is HIV Vaccine Awareness Day today. I wonder how we could commemorate. Some of us may know somebody who have been afflicted with the virus, whether it's the HIV or AIDS, or we know somebody who knows somebody. And let's continue to pray that they find a workable vaccine, an effective vaccine in short order. As they said, it's been over 30 years since the virus has been identified. So let's hope sooner rather than later they will find a vaccine to treat the virus and or disease. And today it is also No Dirty Dishes Day. No Dirty Dishes Day. This holiday was most likely created by an upset parent. No Dirty Dishes Day sings around the world. They're rejoicing at the thought of having a light workload and a clear space on this day. So keep sinks happy and do your part by saying no to dirty dishes. So make sure you wash the dishes before you head off to work. Don't wait until you come home today. It is No Dishes Day. And when you come home later and you realize the sink clean, that's a little extra boost for you. You realize you don't have to wash your ways again. No Dirty Dishes Day. Wash the dishes or use less dishes. Some of us, as soon as we stir a cup of juice with a spoon, we just throw it in the sink. Just rinse it out, wash it out, and put it back in the waste drainer. It is No Dirty Dishes Day. Adhere to what the holiday is. Hi. Somebody come husband phone, please, and tell him I say. Tell him I say. Don't let me meet nothing when I come home. Right. Okay, let us see. Information time. The Ministry of Health's most recent COVID-19 dashboard shows that there are no active cases of COVID-19 in Grenada. There have been 161 cases confirmed since March 2020. 83 of them have been imported. There have been one death. There was one death recorded. According to the ministry, 15,738 first dose vaccines have been administered. 6,855 second doses have been administered. The ministry says yesterday 1,004 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine were administered. 803 people received their first dose, and 201 people received their second dose. That was yesterday. This morning on To The Point, I am expecting Minister of Health Nicholas Steele and the Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sean Charles, and we'll get more details as it relates to the vaccines. And remember, we're looking at the expiration dates, and the latest we can get the first dose and so on and so forth to be able to get the second dose before expiration. So tune in at 9 for To The Point this morning with health officials. They are also expected to facilitate the minister and the CMO are tomorrow, please a lot. Today's Tuesday. Tomorrow, please a lot, is the minister and the CMO. Today is post-cabinet briefing at 10, facilitated by the ministry. I know something didn't right. I knew something wasn't right. So today at 10, the Ministry of Health will facilitate post-cab, and the minister and the CMO will be on To The Point tomorrow, Wednesday, God willing. That's more like it. All right, now let's get ready for the morning edition of news. For those of you on our radio and those of you on our visual platforms, we bring you highlights of last evening's newscast. It's Good Morning Grenada on Classic and GBN. We'll be right back.
Questions and answers after 9 civilians, inclusive of 2 juveniles, were arrested and charged over the weekend for stealing drugs from the Sotez police station. We get details in this report.
It's It's a matter of who's securing who and what. Just how did these individuals know where the storage area for the drugs are and the officer's location at the time of obtaining such a large quantity of cannabis remains unclear. The 9 civilians who appeared before the St. David's Magistrates Court on Monday for stealing a quantity of marijuana from the Satires police station were granted bail. The juveniles' bail amount is $30,000 each with 2 sureties. They were also placed on a curfew from 4 p.m. to 6 a.m. daily. Kiman and Kimani Alexander, Ron and Ronnie Stanislaus were granted bail in the amount of $50,000 each with 2 sureties. They were ordered to report to the Satires police station between 6 a.m. and 5 p.m. They too were placed on a curfew from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. daily. Carlos Williams, Marvin Jeremiah, and Travis Fullerton were granted bail in the amount of $120,000 each. They were ordered to surrender all travel documents and obtain permission from the court to leave the state. They were also placed on a curfew from 9 p.m. to 4:30 a.m. daily. Provided that bail is not secured by any of the accused, they will be remanded to Her Majesty's prison until May 26, 2021. Once bail is secured, they are scheduled to reappear at the Satires Magistrates Court on June 22, 2021. According to a statement issued by the department, officers assigned to the station noticed the disappearance of the drugs over a period of time and took remedial action. Consequently, investigations revealed that individuals fished out marijuana from the rear end of the building due to structural deficiencies. The quantity of cannabis is valued at $721,224. Chrislina John, GBN News.
Very interesting story indeed. And Pat Bruno, a Grenadian American citizen, was arrested and charged for violating Grenada's COVID-19 regulations after he failed to quarantine as per the regulations. He arrived in Grenada on Saturday, the 15th day of May. He boarded a taxi that took him to Mardi Gras St. George, where he allegedly mingled with several members of the community and surrounding areas instead of proceeding to his approved quarantine site. He was arrested and charged by officers of the Criminal Investigation Department. Bruno was charged for the offense of breach of quarantine on Sunday, May 16, that's yesterday. He was granted bail in the sum of $2,000 with 1 surety. He's scheduled to appear in court at the St. George Magistrate Court on Thursday of this week. Moving on to politics, TGM. The viable option? That's the question. Is one of the most heated talking points in Grenada and is the plan by the Grenada movement to become a political party. Many people believe that TGM is the viable option to challenge a new national party at the 2023 constitutionally due general elections. We have more in this report.
Since the announcement that the Grenada movement is moving to become a political party, TGM member Mrs. Faye Thompson says the response received is overwhelming.
The upsurge in interest has been phenomenal. People are coming out of the woodworks from all corners, and it's just feeling good, it's feeling right. At the end of the day, this is not so much about what is in it for anybody, but what is in it for Grenada. And I think people recognize that there is a void to be filled, and they are happy to have an alternative. And we are embracing that with everything we have.
Although the date for this transition is not yet known, Mrs. Thompson said people are relieved that there is a viable option for the Grenadian people.
The call for option has been answered by TGM. And the very fact that we made just a simple announcement over a Diaspora Matters program, and you wouldn't believe the groundswell since then. There's a thirst, there's a desire, and I think we have a duty to answer the call of the people.
The news story broadcasted last Friday stated that Ms. Faye Thompson remained a member of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC. This is incorrect, as Mrs. Thompson clarified.
I worked on the NDC political campaign from 2006. That's when I entered NDC. And after the defeat in 2013, I had just, friendly relations, supporting, because my main aim was for a better Grenada, and NDC was my vehicle. Since then, especially after 2018, I have not been involved in NDC politics. I've since joined the TGM when they gave the inkling that they were going to become a political party. And I'm now a full-fledged member of the TGM.
The Grenada movement was launched in October of 2020, and as it pushes towards becoming a political party, its mantra is to address a number of issues, including the underemployed, the working poor, or the unemployed youth. Cherry and Blackman Stephen, GBN News.
Very interesting development again. We would remember that the TGM said that they were a non-political organization. They insisted when reporters pressed on their status. So now they're saying they're a political organization. I'm certain that will go beyond the headlines in some time to come. Well, with less than 3 years before Grenadians return to the polls to decide on a government to lead the country, and individual groupings willing to throw their hats in the ring are piecing together their plans. The latest step forward is comedian Bassanio Nicholas, and now, as we heard from that report, the Grenada movement. This evening we're joined by political climate. I'll say that again. Here to join us this evening to discuss Grenada's political climate is long-standing politician Mr. Michael Batiste, and he is speaking with GBN's Sherry and Blackman Stephen. Let's go over to Sherry for that discussion.
With less than 3 years before Grenadians return to the poll to decide on a government that will lead the country, individuals and groups are willing to throw their hats in the ring, piecing together their plans, and the latest step forward is comedian Bassanio Nicholas and the Grenada movement. Here to join us to discuss Grenada's political climate is long-standing politician Mr. Michael Batiste. Welcome, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. This evening the pleasure is mine. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Most welcome, sir. Mr. Batiste, what's your take on the present political climate in Grenada?
Well, at the moment, there seems to be a vacuum. A vacuum which I say because we have not been able to put a viable alternative in place to replace the ruling party. I think COVID have taught us many things. We've learned, one, it has opened up the eyes of the Grenadian people. And two, it has sort of exposed the flawed by the economic policies of this government. As we have seen now, the country is sitting in the bowels of poverty, and this government has not been able to introduce any plan to resuscitate our economy. So at present, I think there's a silent majority in the country, uneasy as to the direction the country is going, and they're crying out for alternative. So whoever comes forward, and I always encourage Grenadians and at home everywhere to join the political discourse, play a part in the economic and political development of the country. I don't know who the players are. I've just heard that there is a new political party on the horizon, and I think it's good. Grenadians should get involved, not just forming a political party, because there are several political parties on the island. But I think what is important is that this political party must be a grassroots organization. It must be a political party that can invite itself into the feelings of people. It must be a political party that can connect with ordinary people, because the new National Party have disappointed the ordinary working men and women across the country. They have now catering not to the needs of the majority, but to the needs of the 2%. One would feel the Lansapin group. So I believe a new political party first must recognize that development of Grenada must not be a lopsided thing where you have all the resources of the country being spent in St. George's only. A new political party must recognize and understand the importance of agriculture to the development of our rural people and, of course, to the country as a whole. As it stands now, our economy has collapsed, and this government has not learned anything at all from this pandemic, even though the pandemic has showed up, that concentrating on tourism was a mistake, and that we should have a mixed economy and we should never allow a rural economy to collapse. It seemed to me as if government have not learned anything from the pandemic, because every time you listen to the Prime Minister in a national broadcast, all he seemed to be talking about is building of 5-star hotels. Hotels not going to solve the problem. So it is welcome news to hear that capable Grenadians are coming forward to offer themselves for service. I think the NNP, you can safely say they are now in the departure lounge. They have exhausted all their efforts. Dr. Mitchell have done everything that he can. I mean, he must go down in our political history. He must go down. He is a record. He has led our country into poverty consistently from the years that he has been in office, and it's quite evident now by the cry of the people. The National Democratic Congress, I don't think anyone should count them out. They have a solid base support in the country. They are just a few players away from jumping over that hurdle. In the last election, it's shown that the supporters are stuck with them. The margin of victory by the new National Party was not that great, and as I see it now, a lot of people are dissatisfied with the direction the country is going. I mean, this is a crisis, and at a time when we are facing economic crisis, we are seeing now that the government has gone out and borrowed money to develop the airport at a time when people can't eat. I mean, this is a time when we need an alternative, a serious alternative that would pay attention to the needs of the rural people, pay attention to the working class. We are seeing now that as a result of all the mistakes that this government have made over the years, the working man is paying the price for it. Now government is crying out. They can't pay salaries. They can't pay salaries, obviously, because they put all their eggs in one basket. And every time this government made mistakes, it is the working class that's paying for it. So it's not just forming a party. That party must have a sense of purpose. The party must invite itself into the feelings of the ordinary man. They must be able to connect. They have to come on the ground. It is okay to form an online group and make intellectual statements. It's okay, but all political battles are won and lost on the ground. And it would be interesting to see when this new party officially announced, how they react with the ordinary people on the ground, how they listen, how they could dispense their new ideas to the population, and how well it would be received. So it's a wait and see. Political parties are formed all the time. We have political parties forming here and there, and they fall by the wayside. But at this time now, I think the country is crying out for a serious alternative.
Thank you so much, our long-standing politician, Mr. Michael Batiste. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
We always have to keep our eyes on the weather, especially now as the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season is just 2 weeks away, with a June 1st start date for what is expected to be another active hurricane season. Well, preparedness should be foremost in our minds, reflecting on Hurricanes Ivan and Emily in 2004 and 2005. Forecaster Fimber Frank spoke today with GBN about the hurricane season and what could be expected and how people could be prepared.
Another active hurricane season, or the likelihood of such, is what, according to forecaster Fimber Frank, we can expect in 2021. Frank says the figure to keep in mind at this time is 17, 8, and 4. The forecaster says 17 named storms are expected, with 8 likely to become hurricanes and 4 could be major hurricanes.
It's hard to say what it will mean for us. If we look at last year was the most active in the last 10 years, right? We had like 13 named storms. But then when you look at the rainfall last year, it was not very, very good. And we did not get hit with anyone, right?
He explains that it is difficult to ascertain if Grenada will be affected, noting that last year was one of the hottest.
And that's because we had Tarlie to the northeast of the island, and that sucked all of the moisture and left us with pretty dry and fair skies. So a lot of storms, that does not mean that we will get hit. One, it does not mean that we will not get hit. And it's what to look for based on what the science is saying, but it does not speak to you to say, hey, look out because you will get 2 or 3 or 4. No.
The forecaster impresses that despite the uncertainty, Grenadians should have their hurricane kit and plan prepared, with the entire household knowledgeable on what to do if a hurricane or storm strikes.
This is the time, if you want to clean drains, if you want to trim your trees, get all this done now, because it does not take a storm. We have seen serious flooding from tropical waves. A slow moving wave could dump a lot of rain, and it's not even a storm. A lot of us, we are scared of the wind, but most time the damage is done by water. Water is the real killer.
He is encouraging Grenadians to not wait until the country is under a storm warning or watch to kickstart their preparedness. I am Gerald Joseph for GBN News.
Some would be happy, some eyebrows will be raised. The latest word is that the Molyneux Road will be rebuilt. Let's get details in this report.
Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell assures residents that the Molyneux Road will be rebuilt. The PM, who also serves as parliamentary representative for St. George Northwest, made the declaration during the official ribbon-cutting ceremony to declare the Happy Hill Bypass Road open. The Molyneux Road began showing signs of deterioration during the latter part of 2019, leading to the closure of a section of the road and diverting traffic through Montmorris.
After a lot of work and stoppages through pandemic, that the decision has been made now formally, because we generally thought we'd have to create a new road. We're going to be build back the road in the Molyneux area, but I'll do the protection on both sides of the road. They going to the seaside, protection will be done. The engineers have done their job. The technical report has been available. The bank is aware, and they're going to be doing work on both sides to protect the road on both sides and rebuild the road in that community. A few houses may have to be moved, but they would be paid accordingly, and of course given alternative places in which to continue their livelihood.
Moncoma Road has been given consideration as another alternative route to ease traffic. Dr. Mitchell notes that despite the pandemic, the country is progressing in terms of controlling the virus, unlike other Caribbean islands. The road was constructed with funding from the Caribbean Development Bank and the government of Grenada, to the tune of 1.6 million EC dollars. The project, which falls under the Basic Needs Trust Fund, the BNTF, took 13 months to complete. Byron Campbell heads the Rural Development Unit.
But I want to mention 2 important factors before I close. And that's important, and I know it's a policy of the government, that is of youth employment. But particularly, whereas there were several young persons employed on the project, what amazed me most on the construction site was the assistant site engineer. I would say it was the site engineer because this was the person in charge, and this was a young man, and I want to recognize him, Royden Gilbert, for take a stand, sir. I mean,
land ownership issues, temporary closure to the project due to the COVID-19 lockdown, and changes with the designs and traffic situation due to the Molyneux land slippage are some of the challenges experienced during the construction stages. Employment was created for 36 individuals through this project. Chrislina John, GBN News.
And now it's time to see what people have been tapping away on the screen and saying on through the Social Buzz segment. This is Social Buzz, where we shine a light on the thoughts and concerns of our online audience. Grenada to date has no active COVID-19 cases. However, with government policy to ensure people continue adhering to protocols that will protect the population against the virus, the RGPF has followed through on its promise to step up vigilance and have charged a number of Grenadians for breaking protocols.
I have seen and heard the comments from people that law enforcement are not serious because we're seeing so many people violating and we are not doing anything. And that's the reason why we are here making the clarion call this morning, because we cannot, in truth and in fact, we cannot respond to every citizen who decides not to wear a mask.
Our online audience gave their opinions on the situation. Darrell commented, "Please tell me why you're harassing everyone now. You let the non-compliant tourists get off. It is not necessary. You are on a money grab for the government. 1 year later, your police don't wear the mask properly or where they should. Who will ticket the police?" Another individual commented, "The government of Grenada only cares about money and we can't see what they're doing with all of it." This individual added, "Since COVID started, the government did not offer the public any masks. They did not share out free masks as other countries in the Caribbean. I want to know what the government is doing with all the donations of masks they received. It might sound stupid, but some people cannot afford a mask." Kitera commented, "So, if you cannot respond to every citizen not wearing a mask, then what is the criteria for charging one person over the other?" And Vachelle commented, "This is so senseless. This is what our beloved country has come to. Come on, Grenadians. When would you stand up and decide that no more? Life is too difficult to be in such a situation in these troubled times. Unemployment is at the highest, yet still the government and the police regime decide they want to pressure the people." That's it for tonight's Social Buzz. If you would like to have your thoughts and concerns shared, be sure to comment on GBN's Facebook page. And now we look at what has come in through the ISO lens.
Tonight's ISO features photographs of a tree punctuated with pigeons. The tree has no leaves, only branches and roots, which our ISO reporter thought gave the illusion the birds sprouted from the tree. You can send in your photo and video submissions via our social media platforms.
We are taking pride in outstanding performance. We are encouraging and recognizing innovation. We are committed to continuously doing things better, with enhanced services coming soon. Yes, we are here for you. Check us out today for your financial need. GUT Credit Union, it's where you belong.
Understanding our ocean is education for life. Encourage your students to learn about marine life, water quality, sea level rise. Let them explore sciences. Encourage them through field trips and scholarships. The more they know, the better they can protect our oceans from litter and climate change. Let them rise to the challenge. The ocean is our responsibility, their inheritance, their future.
This message brought to you by the OECS Commission with funding from the Government of Norway. Remlit, tackling ocean pollution from turf to surf.
How going on, boy?
Hey, good old things.
Hey, easy.
Yeah.
Boy, line, boy, your house looking a real good day.
Boy, it's thanks to the hard-working and professional staff at the Housing Authority of Grenada. They handled me real nice. They did my plan, they did the construction, and I didn't even have to worry about a thing. They were there with me every step of the way, supervising the job, asking me about my concerns, giving me feedback as the house took shape. They were there from start to finish, and even put the keys in the palm of my hand. I give them an A++ for customer service.
Oh, it's people from housing bad, boy.
Boy, not bad. Excellent. If you're thinking about constructing your home, why not consult the Housing Authority of Grenada? You could visit them right down in the Sandino complex or give them a call, 440-1015 or 440-1016. Or check out their website, hag473.com. They go handle you. They go jog your blocks, they go draw your plan, they go tote your materials. Hey man, where you going? The Housing Authority of Grenada is your choice for affordable housing and a stress-free construction experience.
Looking for quality herbs and herbal supplements, or are you thinking about having a complete body cleanse to jumpstart your health? Then no need to look further. Visit Nirvana Natural Health Clinic, Detox Center, and Natural Health Store. We carry a wide range of herbal products for kidney and gallstone cleansing, male sexual enhancement formulas, asthma and sinusitis, gas and bloating, acid reflux, constipation, arthritis, imbalanced hormones, female health issues, liver cleansing, weight loss, and so much more. Also available, colonic irrigation, holistic health consultations, essential oils, and diffusers. Look out for our online natural health store coming soon. Call 231-6642 418-7115 or 449-7753 to find out about our delivery options or to book an appointment. Visit us at Belmont St. George's, close to the Foliage, Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Nirvana Natural Health Clinic. Detox your way to health.
See the savings with Spice Isle Optical. Don't break the bank to get your focals. Classy, affordable eyewear. Service optimal. Our experienced technician works like a magician. Trust your sight with our company's vision, where your satisfaction is ever our mission. Mobile services, family packages, economical prices. Spice Isle Optical is where the deal is. Spice Isle Optical is located in Queen's Park, St. George's. For more information, contact us at 449-1588 or 440-0353.
Ultratech gasoline and diesel, available only at Rubis stations.
A whole new level of convenience and comfort awaits you when you shop at Rise and Shine Supermarket and Hardware Supplies, Griffin Lane, Grenville. Convenient, because we are open from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sunday to Sunday. We're even at your service on public holidays. Comfort, because we are easily accessible to the physically challenged. Free Wi-Fi is available while you shop, and bags come at no charge. Everyday low prices and excellent customer care. Adequate parking available. We supply everything you can possibly think of. Family and home supplies, fresh meat, vegetables, and personal care products. All brands of cooking gas at affordable prices. Plumbing fixtures, cutting and grinding discs, PVC glue, drywall screws, and power saw blades. You can send in your order, have it pulled, or pick up express.
Introducing Color by Sissons. Color assistance.
Get Rubigas. Get cooking. Rubigas, clean, safe, and reliable LPG is the perfect solution for your commercial and everyday needs. For cooking at home or barbecuing, choose Rubigas LPG cylinders. Available in a variety of sizes from 20 to 100 pound cylinders. Rubigas LPG, clean, safe, reliable. Are you cooking with Rubigas?
Get Rubis, get going.
Trends come and go, but jewelry is forever in style. Give a gift that lasts a lifetime. Diamond Intercontinental have diamond jewelry, gold and silver jewelries, engagement rings, wedding bands, chains, bracelets, and so much more. They also carry brands such as Anne Klein and Guess. Why wait? Visit Diamond Intercontinental Jewelry Store at the Esplanade Mall. Call 440-231234. The number again, 232-1234.
Hey folks, you're invited to tune in to Grenada Music to the World program hosted by Eugene Gittens on Saturday mornings from 10 a.m. to 12 noon on Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9, Hot FM 98.5, 98.7, GBN TV, and all their social media platforms. The only totally local music program in Grenada, representing all genres of music. So it's Green's Music to the World on Saturday mornings from 10 a.m. to 12 noon on GBN with the music icon himself, Mr. Eugene Gittens. See you then.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Grenada. It is now 18 and a half minutes after 7 o'clock. Thank you to those of you just joining us, and those of you who stuck with us, thank you for your patience. Happy to have each and every one of you joining us. It is Tuesday, which means it's time for some Money Matters, how to make your money work for you. And joining us once again is financial consultant Tarlie Francis. Morning, Mr. Francis. All is well, I hope?
Yes, all is pretty good. Thank you very much. Morning to you.
Thank you very much for joining us once again. Let's get into it. How to make it your money work for you. I tell you, that's a phrase that stuck with me. And this morning we're dealing with how to save on mortgage loans. How to save on mortgage loans. Now, this is a topic I know a lot of people would be interested in, because for most homeowners, the largest monthly payment is mortgage payment. But before we speak about savings on a mortgage loan, how about an explanation or a definition? What really is a mortgage for the people who may be unaware?
Right, a mortgage. So a mortgage is a loan. It's a type of loan where the borrower takes the money and uses it to purchase a home or to build a house, build a home, or to maintain or renovate it. Could be a house or any other real estate property. And with that type of loan, the mortgage, the borrower agrees to make payment to the bank periodically, usually a consistent period, such as, for example, monthly is the most typical. And in this type of loan, a mortgage loan, the property serves as the collateral or the security for the loan, meaning that if at any time the borrower cannot repay or does not repay any portion of the loan, or for any period that is not in the agreement to say monthly, so month passing and you're not paying, then the bank, the lender, takes the property, sells it, and uses the sales proceeds to repay the loan. This essentially is what the mortgage is.
All right. So let's say you get your house with a mortgage loan. What is a type of loan where if you fail to make the regular payment, the lender sells your property to get back its money? Will the lender have to get your permission to sell back the property?
No. There's a legal process. And with the mortgage, you actually sign off the legal right or lien over the title for the property to the lender. And the lender will, in that process, in a nutshell, what will happen is that the lender will ask you maybe 3 times, pay up the outstanding and overdue balance, or pay up the outstanding and overdue amount to date, let us move on. If you can't do it, you don't do it, then the lender, simply using the legal process, it just goes through and sells the property. It doesn't necessarily have to have your permission from there. That is a mortgage, and that's why a lot of people are afraid of mortgage. In fact, you even have colloquial thing will say you will mortgage your mother. So that means you're so bad that you will give up your own asset, like your mother and all, your loved one, for whatever it is that you're going after. So that's what a mortgage really is. You don't have to, the bank doesn't have to ask you afterwards.
But does it matter how far you've reached in paying back the loan? I mean, let's say, for instance, that I have, let's say, a 30-year mortgage loan and I have, 5 more years left to pay on it. Can the bank still take the property and sell if hard times strike, especially now in COVIDious times? Can they sell the property just because I have just 5 more years left?
You see, the COVIDious time make a little different. That's like a spoke in the banker's wheel in that sense, but it's a spoke in all our wheels, and the banks have been quite generous and quite considerate to people. But in the normal course of events, and even in COVID time, if after COVID a person is still not recuperating, not recovering, the bank cannot remain without its loans. Remember, bank money is also depositors' monies. So what it really is that really doesn't matter. Whether you are 5 years into the loan or you are 5 years before completion of the payment of the loan, it really doesn't matter. The bank can come in, even if you just have 2 more years to go and you're not paying, and it can exercise its right there to take the property, sell it, and finish pay off for the loan. It's like a good and a bad at the same time, because you do get the money, you do get the financial power to buy the property or to build the property, but you have to keep your end of the bargain, which is to repay the money on time in the exact amount that you are called upon to repay it, or the minimum amount that you call upon to repayment as scheduled. And that's why it's important to do that, to take over the long term your loan that you would think you will be able to afford. You know the projection of your life and you project how you will be down the road. Take something you could afford. Don't, for example, if you're working for an offshore bank now and your salary is like 17,000, you take a loan based on the 17,000. Really, it is an outlier, that type of salary in the society. So if you lost that job, you really would not get another 17,000 very easily. So you take a loan according to what you could afford, thinking down the future. And then other thing that why this is important too is because you pay as you agreed, but you don't miss the payment at all. If you're going to miss the payment, then you have to have a discussion with your banker to see what could happen. And important too, you have to seize every opportunity. You have to save when you have a mortgage, because the mortgage must be paid. You cannot not pay the mortgage. But emergencies and other things come up and you have to settle them. So you should try to also have some savings while you have a mortgage so that you can take care of both scenarios.
Okay, well, obviously, like the monthly mortgage loan repayment depends on the amount that you borrow, the initial amount of the mortgage loan. And the monthly amount is the same until you pay off the mortgage. How is that amount determined?
Yeah, well, that's a good place to focus, because it is by understanding the monthly repayment amount, understanding it well, that you will be able to generate or make some sort of savings on mortgage loan. The way it works out is that you have in the amount that you are going to pay every month a principal and an interest, right? So if your monthly mortgage loan repayment is $966, that would be the amount. What the bank is looking to have is that there will be principal repayment, that is the money that you are paying over time to repay the loan. And there would be an interest component, that is the amount of money that the bank is making as its income from the mortgage that it has given to you. So for a $966 monthly installment, you are actually paying part principal, part interest throughout the life of the loan, and that's how it goes. The principal goes to reducing the balance on the loan bit by bit, month by month, and the interest goes to paying the cost of you having the money during the life of the loan, and you are paid each period based on the interest rate. So, and this happens for 30 years as if it's a 30-year loan. And what the bank, the way it's really worked out, your question, is that the bank draws up an amortization schedule, right? And in that amortization schedule, usually it creates it in such a way that it takes into consideration the amount that you borrow. So let's say you borrow $180,000, then it takes that as the loan amount, it applies the interest rate, and it spreads that interest rate on 180,000 over a 30-year period. So you have 30 years to repay the loan and 30 years to pay the bank for the cost of having that loan from the bank. And usually it will be, this is very important, how often you pay. So usually for a year, you would have 12 monthly payments in a regular mortgage these days. And on the amortization schedule, therefore, for that period, for that year period, you're trying to pay every month that installment amount that was given to you. But in practice, it's all about working through how much you can afford. You have to think long term. Yes, it's important to think long term. Will you be earning the particular amount in the 2-year period, in 10 years, in 15 years, as I mentioned? Think, do you have enough savings for an unforeseen or any other issues that come up? Savings to be able, and income level to be able to pay the insurances and to be able to pay the property taxes and so. And these things the bank will help you with. But as an individual, as you think about taking a mortgage, you really, or as you think about maintaining a mortgage as well, you want to think about them and think about them long term.
Okay, so let's go into savings now. How can you save on mortgage loan? What are some of the things you can do to actually save on a mortgage? Yeah, well, this is the thing. So as you mentioned earlier, one of the biggest monthly payments that we make, adults, households, homeowners, is the mortgage payment. When it's not a mortgage payment and we're preparing for a mortgage, it will be the rental payment. Shelter tend to be a very big part of our monthly spending. We have to try to save on mortgage loans if we can. And the good news is that there are a few things that can be done to save on mortgage loans, yeah? So we may be able to talk about 2 or 3 of them this morning, right? So one of them, if you want to save on mortgage loan, especially these monthly mortgage payments that you get, is to try to get an arrangement where you can pay a little more often than the monthly. You can pay bi-weekly, for example. Bi-weekly means every 2 weeks you make a payment. So instead of the monthly payment, you will make the monthly payment as usual, but in addition, you will make another payment, say at the middle of the month. Now, creating a bi-weekly mortgage schedule is done by some banks, and the payment is actually bi-weekly. But what we are speaking about here is saving money. Okay, we seem to have a break in transmission. Mr. Francis seems to be frozen. Technology doesn't always work with us when we want it to. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break and then come back with some more. Hopefully he'll be able to rejoin us then. This is Good Morning Grenada on Classic and GBN. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for quality herbs and herbal supplements, or are you thinking about having a complete body cleanse to jumpstart your health? Then no need to look further. Visit Nirvana Natural Health Clinic, Detox Center, and Natural Health Store. We carry a wide range of herbal products for kidney and gallstone cleansing, male sexual enhancement formulas, asthma and sinusitis, gas and bloating, acid reflux, constipation, arthritis, imbalanced hormones, female health issues, liver cleansing, weight loss, and so much more. Also available, colonic irrigation, holistic health consultations, essential oils, and diffusers. Look out for our online natural health store coming soon. Call 231-6642 418-7115 or 449-7753 to find out about our delivery options or to book an appointment. Visit us at Belmont St. George's, close to the Fallage, Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Nirvana Natural Health Clinic. Detox your way to health.
And we're back with Mr. Tarlie Francis, financial consultant, as we make our money work for you. It's Financial Matters. And this morning we're talking how to save on mortgage loans. Before we had that slight break in transmission, Mr. Francis, you were speaking about setting up a bi-weekly payment for mortgage loans. Continue.
Right. Another word for bi-weekly is fortnightly. Yeah? I know some people say, when you say bi-weekly, do you mean twice a week? Well, think about bicycle. You have bicycle, meaning you have 2 wheels on the cycle. So every 2 weeks, you make the payment. Yeah. So what ends up happening here, fortunately, the payments end up being 13 payments in a year because you end up making.
Internet not working with us again. Internet not working with us again. For those of you who are just joining us, we're speaking with financial. He'll be back up in a short. We're speaking with financial consultant Tarlie Francis, and this is Money Matters. It has been a weekly program that we've been doing here at the GBN, sponsored by Republic Bank, and the theme that I've been working with is making your money work for you. Okay, Mr. Francis is back. You back, sir? Yes.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, all right, go ahead.
Because what would happen is that if you don't put it to principal, it means that it's making no difference to you. Because some people actually do that. They collect your money at the middle of the month and they hold it for the next payment. You don't want that. You want to talk to the bank and make it explicitly clear that that is for the principal. And as long as they agree and apply it that way, you are generating a saving of an entire month's reduction in your principal and less interest if you go that route. Yeah. So the other thing is to make sure that there are no prepayment penalties for the extra payments. So that is another thing. And then the third important thing is some lenders only accept prepayments at a certain time, at certain points in the year, certain points in the month, certain points in the quarter. Make sure that you have that clear as well, so that you are not going contrary to what you are allowed. So that is one thing you can do to save money. Try a bi-weekly schedule instead of the monthly schedule, or on top of the monthly schedule, to allow you to reduce principal faster and to gain an advantage of less interest paid overall. A second way you can save is by checking to see if you can really afford it. Afford a shorter than a 30-year mortgage. Now, most times when we are younger, we go in for the mortgage and we think, let us take a longer term so that we will repay a smaller amount every month. And that is nice for the bank. It's also nice for you. But in the long term, is it really the best thing for you? If you can afford to pay a higher monthly premium, a higher monthly installment, you can take that and reduce the number of years. So instead of a 30-year loan, you can take a 24-year, a 20-year loan, or a 15-year loan. The reason is that the shorter the term of the loan is the less the total interest you pay overall. And that total interest you do not pay, it means that your mortgage will be ended earlier. So if instead of a 30-year loan, you took a 20-year loan, it means you would have 10 years after you repay the loan with mortgage-free living. You can use that money that you were repaying the loan for your savings or your investments, as the case may be. So that is a way in which you can also save by taking a shorter term than a longer traditional 30-year mortgage. Just remember that the shorter, the higher the monthly bill. But that disadvantage of a higher monthly bill is offset by the fact that you will finish pay the mortgage earlier and you will live mortgage-free before retirement for quite a number of years, which is a very, very big advantage. When you are younger, you are able to pay more when you are older. Now, your salary might be smaller, so that might not be possible for you at the time, but still you have to keep an eye on that because it's a way for saving with mortgage loans. And a third way is that you take the down payment that you really can make to borrow less. The best measure is given as about 20% of the loan. Most times you can't do 20% of the loan, so you do 10%. The bank allows quite a bit, especially if you have good credit, if you have a good job. But using a large down payment helps you to save, because the more you borrow is the more interest you have to pay. The less you borrow is the less interest you have to pay. But if you have a large down payment, you can get the same price of house or the same value of house acquired or built. And so you want to take care of making sure that the down payment that you use is a down payment that can help you out. So for example, a 30-year mortgage, $180,000 at say a 5% rate, you pay $966, right? Of that $966, you pay part principal, you pay part interest. But if that same loan, you took 20% and paid in, and you borrow, say, 140, your interest amount is less, your monthly installment may be more, but overall, you are finishing pay the loan much faster. You can also save on this. A second reason why the down payment being large is important is that sometimes when you borrow a very large sum, depending on the value of the property, there is something called loan to value. And when the loan is very high compared to what the value or the price of the property is, one of the things the bank does to help you and to give you the loan is to ask you to take out an insurance. Now, this is not your home insurance. In addition to your home insurance, you are asked to take out a mortgage loan insurance. Now, in our parts, what they ask you to do is to take out a second life insurance or something like that. And so the smart people will take out a term insurance, as we mentioned when we were saying how to save on insurance when we did that episode. So you take out a term insurance and you enhance the security for the loan. And the bank likes that. And that is good for you too, because if anything happens, you know that your regular life insurance is going to your family's benefit long term. But the loan is taken care of by the term insurance, which is essentially the mortgage loan insurance. The problem with that is that when you take too big a loan and you have to do that, this money you're paying for insuring the loan, it doesn't help you in reducing the loan. It's just an added cost again of taking out the loan and of having your property. So that is another reason why it's important to really take a big down payment or a bigger down payment than you possibly taking a large down payment, a small down payment and a large loan, and you have to go through all these hoops to secure the loan and extra expenses. But these are some of the things, three we just mentioned here that you can do to save on mortgage loans.
Okay, so let me see if I got them. I was taking notes. So make a large down payment, say 20% or more. Arrange to make bi-weekly payments instead of monthly to get advantage of an extra month each year and pay off faster with less interest. Yes? Yes. Take a 15 or 20-year mortgage if possible. And instead of the traditional 30-year mortgage, have a good portion of your active working years being mortgage-free.
Yes.
I say good notes?
All three of them. Yes. Great.
Okay, so, those are some. Is there let's say two more that you can share with us for the people who may be looking for more tips? And there goes the Wi-Fi again. He appears to be frozen again. He'll be back shortly. Don't worry, all. We're learning things. I hope all are taking notes like I am. I've been learning some things over the past few weeks because of Money Matters. So hopefully y'all are taking notes as well, so y'all can get some good tips and learn some things on how to make your money work for you. That's a phrase I like. Those of you just joining us, this is Money Matters with financial consultant Tarlie Francis. This has been a weekly series that we've been doing, sponsored by Republic Bank in collaboration with the Grenada Broadcasting Network, helping you let your money work for you. I tell you, I like the phrase. There are some questions on the WhatsApp that I am seeing. And once we get Mr. Francis back, I will ask him on your behalf. In the meantime, let's take a quick break and then we're going to come back with some more Money Matters here on Good Morning Grenada, GBN Classic. We'll be right back. Hold on, don't go yet. He's just back. Don't go yet, Timothy. Don't go yet. You're back, Mr. Francis? Okay. All right. Yes, he is back. Don't go yet to me. Let's get back into it. Right. You are going to share two more, if possible, tips on how we can save with the mortgage loan.
That's right. And the internet giving me a little west, but we're on Wi-Fi now. Hopefully it will last.
Hopefully.
Right. Okay. So yeah, we spoke about the assessing of the property. That's important. Some people may say that's not a saving because property values go up generally, but that is true. But there are instances where property value tend to fall, or you can have your property reassessed, and for reasons even we are not the professionals, you can have a reprieve. Now, and whatever you save in that, what you do is that you get whatever you save in that, you apply that to your savings, right? Whatever reprieve you get from that. Okay, then another way you can save on mortgage loan is to have your monthly payment recast. You could recast, let's suppose you are in a situation where you have an increased salary. So with your increased salary, you can go to the bank and you can increase the amount you pay over and above the scheduled amount. What that does, is that it helps you to pay off the loan much faster and pay less interest over time. So for persons who get an increase in salary, one of the first things you want to think about how to be paying more in your mortgage installments, your monthly installments, because that naturally helps. And usually recasting your payments is actually supported by the bank once you go in and you give some explanations. Well, some lenders might ask you to take another loan instead and so forth. So it's a personal choice that you have to make. Yeah. And of course, among the things you can do is refinancing. The refinancing is about bundling with other loans or about stretching out the loan longer. The important thing is that you pay a smaller monthly amount without jeopardizing the cost of the loan by having to pay much more. So you don't want to refinance to your disadvantage for the long term. It's better to refinance for your advantage so that at least you might be paying a lower monthly, but maybe you've grouped certain loans together or you have spread things out based on your own personal financial plan and budget, and you can therefore operate much better at the recasted. So those are ways in which you can save on your mortgage loan.
I have some questions on our social media, WhatsApp to be exact, and two questions are basically the same. Let's say I owe my mortgage, the balance on my mortgage is $10,000, and the bank, I can't make the rest of the payments. The bank sells it for, let's say, $12,000. What happens to the difference? Do they take what is owed to them and give me the difference, or do they take the entire $12,000? What happens in that instance?
Right. What happens is that they take what is owed to the bank, take what is owed to it. The surplus, the extra, the $2,000 in your example, it goes two places. One, for any cost that was incurred in selling the loan and selling the property. So any cost that was incurred in selling it, that goes to paying the cost, paying those fees or whatever. If it was an auction, paying the auctioneer's fees and so on. But when all that is taken care of, all expenses for the sale, the repayment of the loan, then you get the rest. The rest really is for you.
So it could be just $100 or so, but once they they take their portion, they pay off whatever they need to pay off, the balance comes to me.
Right, yes, and that is the case in whichever lender you get. Ethical lending, the lender cannot, once it's covered your obligations to it, which the property secured, when it sells the property, that comes out first, the expenses comes out along with it, and then the rest goes to you. And someone might ask, if it is that you had passed away and your family just couldn't handle, what then happens is that the money goes to your estate, and the administrator of your estate or executor takes care of things.
All right. And another WhatsApp question asks, if I have a problem with my mortgage, for example, I wrote the bank letting them know I have a problem with my signature, and for that reason I hold up payment until I can get the original copy of my signature, how would the bank furnish me with such since the original is with the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank?
To be honest, I don't understand that question.
Neither do I.
What is that person paying with?
Hold on, let me see.
The original signature? Now, let me say this very quickly, since if it is that you can't pay the bank, the first thing you call the bank for some technical reason. The first thing is you call the bank. Now, or any lender, financial institutions, they know how payments can be made. So if you have any problem making a payment, you check the bank, and the bank will give you the alternatives by which you could pay. Especially in today's age, in today's world, there are so many options of paying where you don't need a handwritten signature or something like that. The signatures, there are e-signatures, there are digital signatures. So things like signatures and so on don't stop you from moving money in these days. If you are using checks, for example, the bank you're drawing the check on may be able to facilitate you by a transfer from that account. So that may not be a very good reason why you don't pay the loan. But it is indeed the bank or the lender that you check. They know better than me, even than you, how you can make that payment when you are being prevented from making a payment due to some technical reasons, some technical problem.
All right. Now, some people may say that instead of paying back the bank more than the agreed minimum installation, or instead of making a large down payment, it is better to invest the extra money and savings that you have, like in stock, bonds, rental properties for higher return. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, we often think that way. That's true. Now, what it is that you aim at a certain rate, the loan. If the rate at which you repay the debt is lower, let's say fairly lower, much lower, than the rate of return on investments, whether it's bonds or stocks or so, in the period, then and only then it makes sense to consider, rather than put that money to paying down the loan, you put that money to investment, because the return you get is so much greater than paying down the loan. It makes sense to get that return, and over time of that return, you can use to pay down the loan. However, if it is very close, or if the rate on your mortgage is higher than the rate on investments in the period, when you have extra money, it is indeed better to pay off the loan, subject to that you have already done your emergency savings fund and you have a decent 6 months salary or thereabout on your savings account, on your emergency fund account. Subject to that, you have a regular saving, you have already done your savings, you can go ahead and start paying down debt. The emergency money must be there, and then you start paying down debt. The debt rate must be much lower than the investment rate that you're thinking about in order for you to go and invest first. As long as the debt rate is higher or very close, it is better to take the benefit of repaying the debt. And the long-term reason for that is that once you repay that debt, it means you have that same money you were paying the debt to delve into investments later on, which is desirable. But when you have the mortgage, you have to think first of the mortgage and freeing yourself of it, and then the investment. When you have the mortgage freed, then you can continue with the investment. So I would say it depends on your situation. And, if you are in a particular situation, the one raising the question or the person's thinking about this, then, you get to a financial services professional so that they can help you decide. You can also contact me, no problem, and we can help you work through that decision making.
No, okay, so what I'm getting here is if you have a mortgage, it's worth your while to focus taking steps to save on the interest payment and paying off the principal as fast as your pocket or your purse can allow.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, that is correct.
Now, there's also the question of whether to rent or to buy. Should I buy or rent? Now, even if I could manage a mortgage loan, no. Should I rent or buy?
Right. Again, let me put it this way. If a person or a couple, a family isn't yet financially stable, then it's better to rent. I would say rent in the meantime. And the reason is that while you are renting, you are not taking on the burden of a mortgage because you're not yet financially stable. Now, I must hasten to say that when you do the calculation these days, the monthly rent payment for many properties is the equivalent of a monthly mortgage installment. Well, that is true. But it depends on your situation, whether you're financially stable or not. And so there is great sense in owning your property. The truth is that all of us really like to own our property, and it's a good benefit, a glowing achievement when you own your own property. And so taking out a mortgage for that is good. But you ought to be financially stable. And you have to think of the fact that once you take the mortgage and you own the property, in addition to the taxes and the insurance that the bank will help you with, there are other things that you have to consider that you now have to pay fully. You have to pay for all the renovations, all the repairs, you have to pay for all your utilities and so along the way. Then in addition to that, you are having the regular necessities of your food and your electricity and so forth. So I would say, to help you decide, you think whether choosing a home mortgage at this time is right for you based on the level of or degree of financial stability that you have. And you determine if you have enough money to actually afford owning a home at this time, both for the payments and for that loan over your head, which you are obligated to, and also for the emergencies that may come up. Once you get yourself into that stable position, then you think about buying because you are financially stable enough to take care of things when they happen. So you move into now saving for your down payment. And once you have your down payment, preferably about 20%. If you can't wait, 15%, 10%, but know what the consequences are, as we discussed earlier on. And you try to take the loan with the advantages that we just mentioned, like take it as short as possible, pay the affordable installment that you can, And that really is the answer. You take it depending on your situation, but I will stress financial stability in order to then embark on the loan. Make sure you have, by financial stability, I mean, make sure you have a little savings there ready and waiting in case something happens when you have the mortgage over your head.
Another one of our viewers or listeners has a question. The person asks, let's say I'm almost done paying the loan and I wish to pay off the loan. Do I pay the current principal due, or will the payoff be different to the current principal?
Right. Again, there's a mathematical computation. The bank uses the amortization schedule, and it does a prepayment injection. So what you end up happening is that you would pay. Let's suppose you walk into the bank today and you say, I want to repay the loan. They agree with you. Let's say you'll repay it on the last day of May. So the last business day of May, what they can work through with you is how much are you owing by the last business day of May. You work out the interest up to the last business day of May. You work out all the other costs associated with closing the loan, and then you pay off that balance at that time. If you walk in today, all your money in your hand today, you're going to repay today. Interest accrued up to today is what you pay, plus the balance as at today. It should have been less today's balance.
All right, so it depends on the time, but once it's for today, it's up until the day that you want to pay it off.
Yes. And most people going to repay a loan, they don't really have walking with cash or have that money that they can get now for now. So there's usually a lead time. So what would happen is that the interest accrued up to that lead time is worked out. And usually when you prepay, there is a little prepayment percentage or fee that is there on a mortgage loan. The bank will tell you, and in your fine print for your loan, you will see it as well. So that prepayment would kick in. It's usually not very much, but it is there, and you should be aware of it. That's your closing cost, and that's all. You prepay, your loan is done, your title is released from the bank, and Bob is your uncle.
And there's a Facebook question. Why do you have to pay a lawyer to reconvey a property back to you after you've paid off your mortgage?
All right. When you see these legal things and they so blossom there, you have to make sure everything is done right. And the people who went to school and qualified and professional to make sure it's done right, they are called lawyers. And they ensure that it's done right for your protection and for the bank's protection as well. And for their labor, for their time, for their expertise, we pay them a little bit. A different answer to that, I would say, let's ask a lawyer. or let's ask your banker when you go in there. But a simple answer would be, when you pay lawyers in relation to mortgage loans, you are actually paying for good value, because these are the people who make sure that the I's dotted, the T's crossed, and that you are protected as a borrower in all this big paperwork that sometimes we can't even understand some phrases in it, some clauses in it. They make sure that everything is right, that it's done on time. Now, what has to be paid, nobody can come and tell you later on that. But when you were closing, you forgot this piece of tax or that piece of other thing and so on. And that's the reason why we pay them, to make sure that when it's finished, we could sleep quietly. About mortgages, Blossom, as I was going through this internet problems, I was remembering the thought for today. The thought for today that you gave us at the beginning. Be patient in the storm and focus on the sunshine after.
Exactly.
What a wonderful thought.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And the final question on the social media this morning: how does the mortgage get to foreclosure if there is insurance? What then is the purpose of the insurance?
Right. So let's go. If it is if there is a mortgage loan insurance, if there is home insurance, we're not talking about that. That is for the home, for the property and so on. This person is asking about the loan insurance, or the insurance to insure the loan. How does it go to foreclosure? Now, the point about foreclosure is that you are not able to pay the loan. It's like bankruptcy. You're just head over heels, water overhead, cross the neck going up, you're drowning, you can't do it. Then the thing goes into foreclosure, because you have now missed several months payment and so on. 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, you're still not paid and so on. That it goes into foreclosure. If you have an insurance, then the insurance kicks in. Usually the mortgage loan insurance is not for the whole loan, by the way. It's when your loan to value is so close, then an insurance is taken out to cover that. In the US, for example, mortgage loan insurance is just about it's just about where your down payment is like below 15%. Then you can get a 5% down payment, but you have to do insurance to secure about 10 to 20% of the loan that you borrow. So the loan insurance is not necessarily an insurance for the whole amount that you borrow. It's just for a portion, and it's just to help secure the loan because you are taken in a very high risk situation, a very low down payment, for example, right? So what happens and what kicks in when the insurance kicks in for the insurance purposes. But in terms of foreclosure on the property, whether to sell it or not, if you had an insurance that covered the whole property, then that's different. But if you had an insurance, usually the insurance does not cover the whole property because the state knows and the laws know that you don't need that because your property is securing the loan. And so it is the reason why you foreclose the property itself. Foreclosure is usually used to refer to the property being sold, the property in foreclosure. All right? So that's what it is. The person's question, maybe I did not explain well that the insurance is it's not usually an insurance on the whole loan amount. It's usually a mortgage loan insurance, just a little piece to ensure that you top up on the loan, the value of the property is so close. If you're going to foreclosure and you sell it, it may not cover the total loan. And so you have an insurance for covering a portion of that so that if that goes bad, that kicks in. If that covers everything and you could get back on your feet, then there is no foreclosure. If you can't, then there is foreclosure and the property, the sole proceeds used to repay the balance on the loan. Interesting question, very interesting.
An interesting answer as well. Thanks for explaining that part. Mr. Francis, thank you so much. And just before we close, speaking of mortgage, the Republic Bank Home Easy Mortgage Loan is now on and it goes on till June. That is next month, God willing. So if you're considering buying, building or renovating a home, there's still time to call or visit any Republic Bank branch for assistance. There are 8 branches across the state, including Karakou. So the friendly staff is waiting to assist you. So the Republic Bank Home Easy Mortgage Loan, you have until next month, God willing. You still have just about a few weeks left. Anything that you'd like to do, check out Republic Bank today. Thank you very much, Mr. Francis. Next episode, how are we saving? What are we saving on next episode?
Well, credit cards. Credit cards has built up a bad reputation for itself. But there is some good in it, and there's some way we can save even when we have credit card. Even if you're drawing in credit card debt right now, that will be a nice episode for you. Or if you don't use credit cards, that will be a nice episode for you to see how you can save even when you use credit cards.
All right, looking forward to it. Thank you very much once again, Mr. Francis. Until next week, God willing, be safe.
Looking forward. You be safe. Thank you.
Thank you. How to make your money work for you. Thank you so much to Mr. Francis and Republic Bank once again for being the sponsors of this segment. Money Matters every Tuesday, 7:15 a.m. We bring you ideas and thoughts and tips on how to let your money work for you. And that's the end of the televised program this morning. Thank you so much for tuning in. Up next, the BBC's 8 a.m. newscast. Enjoy the rest of your terrific Tuesday. Bye-bye, everybody.